Lecture in a series on organic food. We had a wonderful overview last time and just saw how organic food impacts us and how societies are starting to think about health and food. Today we have the fortune of having Kelly Carlisle here. She is going to discuss something that I know a few of you are working on as a sustainability project, which is food access. So there are communities that have no food, and we actually had a discussion about this in lab the other day, that people have to go places to just get milk. So please give your attention to Ms. Carlisle. She's going to be, discussing this. We'll have a little bit of a Q&A time, and I know that you're going to get a lot out of this talk.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Hello. I see people eating. That's cool because it's lunchtime. But can I get a little bit louder? Hello. Hello. I remember being in this very forum, taking a class on nutrition, and I was like that too. Hello. Hello. My name is Kelly Carlisle. I'm the founder and executive director of Acta Non Verba Youth Urban Farm Project. We have a quarter-acre farm out near the Oakland Coliseum. I actually have a slide for that. Out near the Oakland Coliseum that's run by K through 8 youth. The kids plant, harvest, and sell the produce, and 100% of the proceeds go into savings accounts for them. It's a really cool program. You know, it was all born out of this idea that children deserve the very best, right? I saw a news story in August 2010 saying that kids in Oakland had a 40% dropout rate. And I was horrified. But I was horrified in the Berkeley way. I was horrified like, oh God, those children, who's gonna save them? Not me. Glad I don't live there. Then I looked at my daughter. She was, I think, 3 or 4 at the time. And I thought to myself about how extremely elitist and wrong that was. Now, some of you might know that I'm a Navy veteran. And so it started to click in that this is not what I served for, you know, for one section of kids to not have the same opportunities as another section of kids. I made a conscious choice to not live in Oakland once my daughter reached kindergarten. I saved and script so that I could rent a small apartment in Berkeley because it was that important. But a lot of people don't have that option. I live right down the street here on East 10th. And whenever we had to go to the grocery store, I went to Berkeley. I went to Berkeley because I knew what was there. I knew where to go for food. So the Quarter Acre Farm, in partnership with Oakland Parks and Recreation, is run by kids ages 5 to 13. This year, we boasted a number of 160 campers between the spring and the summer camp. That's 9 weeks of camp. Parent engagement is explosive. Savings accounts, about a third of the kids that attended camp got a savings account. And more than that is self-esteem. So, deep East Oakland is where I work. We have 2 grocery stores now. There's a Walmart and a Pack and Save. I'm sorry, not a Pack and Save, a Walmart and a Foods Co. And I'm going to get into how to get there in a second, but it's really, it really is a food desert. As I started building out our farm and doing outreach, it was really, really difficult for me to find something to eat, you know, like just something to eat. So you could go into the liquor store and they do have sandwiches, but it's all those, that block meat that they just, you know, highly processed, iceberg lettuce. I'm gonna slap the next person that offers me something with iceberg lettuce on it. That's my word. I hate iceberg lettuce with a passion. There's no nutrients. There's nothing, no kind of salad, you know, now Walmart has their grocery section or whatever, where they're supposed to be serving fresh produce, but I don't know if how many of you have been in the Walmart in East Oakland? Raise them high. All right, give me some ideas. Give me some impressions of the Walmart. What is it? You've been there? What was your impression of it?
Very big, large.
Expensive too.
And food?
No, not something that's got to be done by
They do. Yeah.
And the produce section is either like big bags of stuff, like that's already packed together. You can't go and pick your own thing. You can't go like this apple's good, I want this apple,
Right.
I want this potato. And it's like bags of prepackaged lettuce. And the sections are very slick. There's only like one type of
Apple. Yep. Those nasty red ones, right? I hate that. Ugh. Go ahead.
They don't really have a vegetable fruit section. It's pretty much like the middle of the aisle where they just have like a little section where they have fruit, right out the watermelon and stuff, and just out in the open. It's not really a section for it, it's in a way.
Yep.
Not really trying.
Yep.
Not very fresh.
Exactly. Are you even trying? Are you even trying? Are you trying? Because if you're trying, you know, I watch a lot of TV. I saw the commercials about, this is Walmart meat? Wow. Nah.
You gotta keep in mind, they just remodeled and they didn't expect the vegetables and everything.
They just remodeled and they're expanding. Yeah. I mean, Michelle Obama told them to, so yeah. You know, that's legit. What else? Anybody over here been in Walmart? How about Foods Co. up on MacArthur? Brand new, state-of-the-art grocery store. You've been in there? What did you think? That is Walmart? Agreed. Anybody else been in the new Foods Co.? I went in there to get dinner for a board meeting a couple weeks ago. And usually I stop at Costco. I go to Costco and get a couple of the chickens, a few salads, you know, it's all good. But this time I was running late. It was a CSA day. I had to get to the meeting. So this is the closest grocery store with hot food, right? Because Walmart doesn't do that unless you want McDonald's. So I go all the way up there to 107th and MacArthur, and I'm looking for rotisserie chicken. I see the machines. I see the chickens rotisserieing, but I don't see any out. So I asked the question, you know, where are the rotisserie chickens? The girl says, right there. Right where? Right there. I'm not seeing her, I'm so sorry. And she walks me over and she shows me a dead chicken in a bag. Now, I've been all over the world, and anytime, I'm like a chicken connoisseur. Everywhere I've been, rotisserie chickens are trussed up, you know, so they still look like chickens, and they're put in a clamshell, right? That's how they're presented, because people eat with their eyes, right? So it's presented like a roasted chicken, something that you want to eat. This crap was just stuffed in a bag, and the chicken was like, you know, and I'm like, I kind of shrieked, you know, I'm like, this right here, this dead chicken in a bag, encompasses all that the powers that be feel about East Oakland and its residents, right? We do not deserve to have chicken that looks like rotisserie chicken. This shit didn't even have a date and time on it for when it was cooked. So what did I do? I bought that shit, because I didn't think that anybody would believe that this existed, right? Like, nobody on the planet Earth will believe that there is just a dead chicken in a bag. I brought it home. My mother came in. She's like, what is this? Mom, it's what it looks like. It's an effing dead chicken in a bag. Let's cut it up. She was gross. It was really, really disgusting. So the definition of a food desert. There it is for you. I cited my source because I'm at a college campus. The 2008 Farm Bill. I don't know if how many of you have been involved in this recent Farm Bill brouhaha? Anybody? Well, next time it comes up, I highly suggest that you get involved with it because it's so interesting the way that the monies are allocated, the federal monies are allocated, right? So this huge chunk goes to subsidized farming, but very little of it goes to, I don't know, SNAP, very little of it goes to small farmers, very little of it goes to organic farming or organic farming research. More about it. They have specifically defined a food desert as a low-income census tract where either a substantial number or a share of residents have low access to a supermarket or a large grocery store. So let's talk about how long it takes to get to a large supermarket or a large grocery store. So this is from where my farm is, Tassafaronga Recreation Center. Oh, you can see it up there. I keep forgetting that. So this is the route that one would have to take, and this is the easy route. This is, when the buses are running and you're on point, But most of the residents in our community don't have access to a car. They take the paratransit, they get rides from friends, they borrow vehicles, they ride a bike sometimes. And so this is outrageous, right? Now, we just talked about Walmart selection, and I really want y'all to hold that image of the chicken in your heart, okay? Because really, for me, that dead chicken in a bag is one reason why I do what I do. People have to know that they're worth more. With all of the, again, powers that be, the local government, the developers and business, just shitting on residents that live in these low-income areas. You don't own your home. Why should you care, right? And people internalize that, right? I don't own anything. I don't own nothing. Why should I vote? It's all a rigged game, so on and so forth. But that's how capitalism wins, right? Like, people just drop out the system. All I have access to is this grocery store with 3 onions and 2 moldy potatoes. I'm gonna get the Aunt Jemima pancake mix and the, Uncle Ben's white rice. I'm gonna feed my family. I'm gonna get the canned corn, and hey, I guess that's what I deserve because that's where I live, right? People start to internalize what they've contributed, right? Well, I ain't worked in 15 years. I guess all I do deserve is this soda. I guess all I do deserve is, all my son deserves are those Takis, right? Those little crunchy chip things, and some Tampico, also gross. I've tried it all. It's nasty. So food access disparities. Is it by accident or by design? So when I started the farm at Tassafaronga, there was a grocery store there, Pack and Save. The paper that I was reading to get ready for this talk said it was a rundown Pack and Save about a mile from the rec center. Okay, it was run down, that's true, but it had stuff in it, right? Like you had everything. You had organic options, you had conventional options, you had options. It was a full service grocery store. The thing that we can't offer as an organically grown farm is also toilet paper and cigarettes, right? We cannot offer that. But this grocery store could. The grocery store could have stayed. But just randomly, late last year, it just picked up and left. No warning. It wasn't like there was no campaign like, unless you guys start spending more money here, we have to close. There was nothing. It just, one day it was there, 3 days later it was gone. They were even selling off the fixtures in the place. So I asked the neighbors, the neighbors that come through the farm, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do for food now? And it was like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll go to Gonzalez because it's up the street, Their meat don't impress me though. I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna talk to? Your councilman is all up in it, right? So he's the one that can make the decision. Well, they said he's gonna bring a grocery store out here. He brought Foods Co. The idea that it would take somebody 40 minutes to get to a grocery store by public transportation is ludicrous. Again, I live in Berkeley. It's about a 15-minute walk to the nearest grocery store. When I lived with my parents, it was about a 10-minute walk to a grocery store. Not to say that Berkeley has it all, all over Oakland or whatever, but to say that city planners, local government, whomever does the districting and zoning and all of that, make sure that there is something within walking distance in most neighborhoods in Berkeley. In Oakland, it's not the same. It's like, why feed them? Why feed them? They don't work, right? They don't go to school. Why feed them? When I started Acta Non Verba, I told you about the story about the 40% dropout rate. And so former Mayor Gavin Newsom started a kindergarten to college program, providing low-income students with $50 or $100 in a savings account, a match savings account, right? And I was like blown away. Like this mayor of a big, huge city took enough time to create a program for, the little people. I was reading the comments. Why do we read the comments? Like, I only read the comments when I'm feeling bad about myself, like, ugh, I shouldn't have ate that taco last night. Let me read the comics, So-and-so got beat up last night. Let me read the comments. The comments were that bad. I wish people would stop telling these kids that they're going to college. The world only needs so many nuclear physicists, but we'll always need janitors, and you don't need a degree for that. Yeah, I saw that face. That was how I felt. That's how I felt inside, but how do I do that, right? Because I'm still in my elitist thinking, like, shit. They should have worked a little harder. Maybe they wouldn't be in that area. Maybe they could get some food. Maybe they could get to college. But again, I started looking at my daughter and I'm like, well, what do you deserve? And who's gonna tell you what you deserve? Who am I to tell you what you deserve? Who are you to tell me that I don't deserve that? This is the real meat to this talk right here. So you all are supposed to be advocating to get organic food on this campus, right? Is that right? Am I in the wrong class? Is this Fashion 101? I look like a swashbuckler. So is that what's happening? You all are supposed to be advocating to get more organic options or more food options here on campus. No? Yes. Okay, thank you. I'll just keep asking the question. So, the real question for the, 40, some 50 of you, is do you feel like you deserve it? Those of you that have children that go to the daycare center, if that thing is still open, the daycare center, those of you that have elders that stay with you or you stay with them, do you feel like you deserve it, your children deserve it, your families deserve it? Don't just say yes because I'm looking at you. Do you? I mean, really, how many of you actually care about what you eat? Or is it just food? You actually care about what you put in your body? Yeah? Why? Give me some answers.
You are what you eat.
You are what you eat. Okay, so if I'm eating a dead chicken in a bag, horrifying. What else? Why else do you care? Go ahead. Doctor yells at you a lot. Yep.
And they're right.
Right.
Absolutely. And I go for everything from the organic to the fast food.
Right.
It's called cravings.
Hey, I know all about cravings.
The better you eat, the better you feel.
So eat those beans with every meal. The better you eat, the better you feel. Is that true for you?
Oh, for sure, mentally and physically.
Is that true for most people? I don't know. You know, I watched that Super Size Me movie, you know, and I wasn't convinced, you know. I wasn't convinced by the girlfriend's histrionics, you know. He's gonna kill himself with the McDonald's. God. I mean, he threw up, but what drunk doesn't? I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Even his doctor was surprised how long it took him to recover.
Yeah.
It took a long time to reach the wrist lines. The damage was, he wasn't at it all that long compared to.
Yeah, it's true. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Just to add to the dead chicken in the bag image, like if you kind of trace back where did that chicken come from, a lot of times that kind of low quality chicken is the kind that was, you know, in a place where it could never move around, was basically just constantly fed this low quality food. And if you know anything about chickens, they will, if they're kept next to their food, they will continually just be eating that food. And it's like if you believe that when you eat something, you're taking in some of the energy of where that came from, what kind of energy are you taking in there? We're taking in energy of a beast that's just sitting there constantly eating this.
Yeah, that's a great point. Can somebody read this? Oh, please.
Well, I also think if we have to care what we're eating about, what we're eating, then we have a stronger connection to the food, where the food comes from. But then we're then linked into our environment, and we are part of the system, not just feeding off the system. That we are supporting the entire cycle. And then we have a say. We know what's going on. We have a say about how that food is grown and how it's distributed.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Real fast. The reason why I think people worry about what they eat is because, you know, it's for your health. I mean, if you eat the wrong thing, you're going to get bad health. And some foods could make you sick, and some brands and their quality could make you sick, and potentially, you know, you're actually the person taking off the risk versus the companies producing all these low quality foods.
I lost that last one.
We're pretty much taking all the risk buying all these cheap, you know, unworthy food that we're pretty much taking all the risk versus the companies that's producing these low quality foods for us. Mm-hmm. They're pretty much winning. They're getting our money. We're just losing because it's killing our health slowly.
Absolutely. So let me tell you, I had my daughter, and I, of course, you know, I did what moms do. You know, I read all the books. I made sure that I bought the Similac with DHA. First of all, I breastfed until it was no longer possible because she's evil with them teeth. But I bought the DHA Similac, thinking, you know, it says to boost brain power, right? So I'm like, I don't want my baby to be smart. Drink it! Do algebra. And then a new story came out talking about Similac has linked with obesity, tooth decay, and there might be some roaches in some of it, you know. Yeah. Interesting. So I was like, that's enough of that. What I'm gonna do now is start you on just apple juice. You know, she was starting to do solids and everything. So now, water and apple juice. Well, did you know that apple juice has X amount of sugar? And X amount of sugar at a young age has been linked to obesity and diabetes. And oh Lord, what am I doing? So now we have switched to just occasional juice. I let her cut the juice with bubbly water so that she feels like she's having a soda. When she catches me in a lie or something, you know, she's like, you owe me a soda. Right now, I'm at like 16 sodas. And it's really stressful because she sees her friends, you know, chug-lugging away. And I'm like, don't do that to your body. So I have to appeal to her vanity, right? She's 10 now. And I have to appeal to her vanity and be like, oh, did you know Sunkist soda makes you have pimples? And she's like, oh. So this is a colleague of mine that works at Food First. If you continue your studies in food access, food equity, food justice, you are certain to come across his books and articles. He's a great guy. It's this food apartheid part that really struck me a year into doing this work, right? Because let me tell you, I wasn't an activist, right? I was not an activist. I was just trying to make life a little bit better for young ones in East Oakland. That's it. I did not want to be political. I did not want to be linked to any kind of policy. I did not want that in my life. But then he says this, food apartheid. And I think that was an epiphany for me. I know what apartheid is. Shoot, my parents both went to Cal and were, about it with the apartheid and sanctions against South Africa. I know what that is. But how does it relate to where we are in East Oakland? I mean, I'm just talking about East Oakland because I don't work in West Oakland, but West Oakland has the exact same issue, right? Except it's being gentrified faster, so most likely they'll have a grocery store pretty soon. Probably a Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, something snazzy. So, how does this apply to East Oakland? And really this school, right? How does that apply to us that have to work here, come here every day? I don't know how many classes you got. At the peak of my collegiate experience, I was taking 6 classes, and I was starving all the time. And the cafe thing, when I came here, it didn't have the culinary piece to it, right? So there was no occasionally something fancy, It was just all hot dogs from the man across the street. Did they move the man across the street because on purpose or? There's like 4 of them. Okay, yeah. I do love hot links. I will say that. I might be a hot link, I do love hot links, but even before all of this, it occurred to me that I can't eat hot links all the time, right? I can't eat hot links every day that I'm supposed to be here, and a hot link before Spanish class was jacked up, Bubble guts, you're trying to speak it, it's all bad. So again, I ask you, do y'all deserve better?
Yeah.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Why?
Why not?
Because we are in charge of our own quality of life. This is the one thing that we have control over, whether or not you eat bad is up to you. So basically, if you're like, well, I can't afford it, well, do something about it. Why don't you, I don't know,
put some money aside so that you can eat well, X amount of days, or change something in your life. You have total control of what happens to you in the aspect of what you put in your own mouth. So one thing that you can't control. So
Okay.
make something of it.
Okay. I love that you said that. I love that you said that because really, that's how I ended up in East Oakland with a farm, right? You have access now. Come eat. I have provided for you. I got arugula. What? I got purple broccoli. What you want? What you want? What you need? I got cabbage. What? Brussels sprouts? What? Kohlrabi? Eat. Why won't you eat? People are like, man, I don't know. What? It just came out of the ground. Yeah, but it's free. Here, let me wash it off for you. Shh. How about now? What is a kohlrabi? I really don't know. It's a funny looking vegetable. I see it in the farmer's market. Okay, so problem 1. They don't know what I've grown, right? Nobody said a word when I was planting it. Nobody said a word while I was out there sweating, trying to build those boxes and fill them up with soil and, make sure that all of our practices are organic. Nobody said a word until guess when? No, even our first harvest, most of it went to compost. Some of it went to them Occupy people, but most of it went to compost because people just didn't want it. It just sat there, and I'm begging. Hey, I got the greens, I got Swiss chard. What is Swiss chard? Nobody said anything until the holidays. And then people start coming around, so, you got collard greens? No, I don't have any collard greens. What? You ain't got no collard greens. No, I did 3 public forums to ask what you all wanted me to grow. I would have been happy to grow collard greens. You ain't black. Don't you know you're supposed to have collard greens for Thanksgiving? So of course I called my mom. Mom, did you know? She's like, oh yeah, I think I do remember that. Damn. Now it's New Year's, Christmas and New Year's. They come back around. You got any greens yet? Oh yeah, I got Swiss chard and I got purple broccoli leaves. No, mustard greens, girl. My bad. So then the next season, I grew 4 beds of mustard greens and collard greens, right? I'm blowing up. I got you. Come on. I'm giving them away for free. Come on, who wants them? Don't nobody want no greens. It's March. Damn. So I started charging, right? My mother had been saying over and over again, Kelly, everything can't be free. When people think things are free, they think it's worthless. Everything cannot be free. So I started charging 50 cents for everything, right? I'm trying to think of something. Maybe you've set aside 50 cents, for a candy bar. Maybe you've set aside, $1 or $2, like I'm trying so hard to make sure that people can afford it, that it's accessible, that I'm out there consistently, And we were blowing up. $700 we made last year, just by 50 cents. 50 cents, right? So people value what they pay for. So here's my other question for you. If there was an organic option here, let's say Whole Food style sandwiches, right? With only free-range chickens and, delicious salad greens and, onions that were hand-picked by the virgins, like, what, how much would you pay for that? How much do you pay for a sandwich now? $5, $6?
$7.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Out of our price range, it's ridiculously expensive. You're here 5 days a week, that's like $25.
Yeah.
So obviously, it can't be that much. We value it, but we have to eat what we have here, because that's all we have locally, unless
Yep.
the hot dog.
You're on fire today. It's good.
Also, they make the desserts so much cheaper than the healthy food there that it's like
You mean here?
impossible. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Is it impossible? Is it something that maybe you could advocate for?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think what would be a necessity to our community is starting up nonprofit organizations that would be able to educate the youth to eat properly, how to find or access these grocery stores, what's the difference between a Foods Co. and a Whole Foods, because a lot of the people who live in these low-income communities have no idea that there is a difference between them and what's organic and why is it organic. So it's usually the youth who need to understand it more than the people who have been living underneath it for years.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. Here's the thing. It's good enough for my mama. She's still alive. It's good enough for my daddy. He's still alive. Every week we were having Jack in the Cracker, and we're all fine. I mean, yeah, maybe a couple of us are kind of chunky, but there's other ones that are just skinny as a rail. Go ahead.
I don't know, I think it's pretty neat. I live in Berkeley as well, and a lot of the schools in Berkeley, they have really good lunches as opposed to what's outside of Berkeley. And they've already inhibited that, like, from, I can't really say what year it was, but it's been going on for a while now. So it's just, to meetings that they can voice their opinion, but not necessarily having that access in communities where it's like Oakland, Richmond, so voicing out what, should be done, but having that education also.
So, first, let me go back to what you said about starting a nonprofit. Don't do it. Do not do it. It's not going to make you happy. And I mean, that's just real talk. I want to go to what you said about education. You don't know what you don't know, right? Like, that's an old saying, right? People say that all the time. You don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know, how are you going to ask for it? If you've lived in a community for 25, 30 years that has only had corner stores as their source of food, how will they know? So we did a study. Acta Non Verba was a part of a larger study with different organizations here, Hope Collaborative and Communities for a Better Environment. So we did this study, we interviewed all these people in East and West Oakland, and the lowest priority for the people that we surveyed, it was like a person-to-person survey, not a phone survey, person-to-person survey, was organic food, right? Nobody wants no organic. That's for white people, like Pilates, No, it's weird. Why are you trying to give me some organic food? It's just food before, now all of a sudden y'all got this highfalutin organic food. So I said, okay, I'm a smart woman. I won't tell anybody that we're growing using organic practices, right? And we've been doing great. And so then I go to Eco Farm, the big conference down in Asilomar, and I'm sitting across, I had taken my daughter with me. I'm sitting across from this white man who says to me, he pushes back at the table, it's like a classic, So what do you do? And I say, I run this quarter-acre farm, I do my elevator pitch, and he says, let me ask you a question. You growing organically? I said, absolutely, we're growing organically. He's like, so you're certified? I said, no, I'm not certified. It's just a small quarter-acre farm. Like, it's not big enough for us to certify, really, and that's thousands of dollars and all of this other paperwork, right? So no, we don't certify, and we don't really discuss it with the community because they made it quite clear that word is an issue for them, right? It's an issue. It's a class issue. It's an education issue. It's divisive, the word organic, in my community. And he scoffs at me. Oh, what? That's just, what? Let me ask you a question. I don't mean anything by it, but let me ask you. Are you college educated? I told you I was in the Navy, right? I didn't tell you what I did, though. Every venomous, horrible thing that I have ever felt about a person came to the top of my lips, right? And I have to hold back because even my daughter is like squirming in her seat, like, oh shit, you done, Mommy's mad face is on. And I said, I am. And he says, well, there were indications that you were, but I think that's ridiculous. They don't want organic food? I say, it's not that they don't want organic food, but people like yourself have made it so that organic is an elite thing, right? It's a joke on TV. Oh, Dharma only eats the organic, bulgur wheat, It's a joke. It's a brand. And that's what people don't want to pay for, right? That's a clear brand because now you're talking about food. And food is, number one, political, but also as a mother, it's deeply personal, right? Huh? Identity. Go ahead.
Don't you think a lot of it has to go with what they're fed and advertising? You see the price of fruits and vegetables going up, whether they're organic or not.
Mm-hmm.
But the sugared soda, it's amazing how they seem to keep feeding it to people, and the price has not gone up so much.
Right.
It's amazing how they can produce that corn syrup
Oh my goodness. So I got a phone call today from a good friend of mine, a former board member. I haven't talked to him in, maybe some months, He's a nice dude, but he's got all these kids, and I just have the one. He's very busy. And he calls me up out of the blue in the middle of the day while I'm working on this hotness for you. Kelly, what do you think about Proposition D, the soda tax, right, in Berkeley? Proposition D. And I'm like, well, I think that it should be taxed. The money's gonna go to the general fund. The general fund funds youth opportunities where people can, young people can get out and move. And he's like, I know, but they're making this into race. They've got all these black people, he is not black, they got all these black people at BART handing out flyers talking about no on Measure D, they're going after us, right? And I said, yeah, I know, buddy. And he's like, well, what should we do? What should we do? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna vote yes on D, and I'm gonna move on with my life. He's like, well, I wanna hire some people. I wanna hire some people to go out there and flyer yes on D right next to him. And I said, well, nameless person, how many black people do you know? He says, well, I know you. And I know this guy I work with. I said, well, I'm unavailable this weekend, but hopefully the dude that you know has a crew that you could hire to go out there. I said, because that's what it's gonna look like. Because it's the face, right? You talked about advertising. It's the face, right? It's the face of poverty. I'm so poor. All I can do is buy this sun-kissed soda. And the government is gonna come down and take that from me too. Where were all of these faces when they were cutting SNAP? Where was all of this outrage? Where were all of these black people flyering? Women with children. Your food stamps are gonna be cut by $30-something a month. It's already only $300-something, and we live in the most expensive area. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I think our generation is in my opinion, is very lazy. We always have opinions about everything, and we don't know how to form that into something that we can actually put out there. And that's kind of frustrating because I want like a role model or not a better generation, but I want someone to look up to and be aware of what's going on. I don't know what I'm eating. I'm just eating because it's there. And I grew up in a place where it's not handed, in a beautiful, plastic box or whatever you call it. But I wish there's more people who are like push me more and give me more information about these things because it is our life, and it's frustrating to see that no one is taking a step and to progress and make everything better.
Well, consider yourself pushed, girl. Really, this idea of agency is new to me. I've always felt like I've had agency. My mom ensured that I had agency. Girl, don't care about what they say. They're just jealous. Well, what could they possibly be jealous of? They jealous because you're smart. They jealous because you're beautiful. She made sure that I felt good about myself. But it wasn't, food? Is that something to have agency about? I didn't think so. I fed, people complain about what the Navy was feeding us. I'm like, girl, you better get up here on this ribs, girl. That's agency, and each and every one of you has it, right? Do you or don't you? Yes. Do you? If you got more than $1 in your pocket right now, put your hand up. Now, that's from Wycliffe. But you have agency. And like the young lady said, you can make your choices, right? You have the obligation to yourself, your family, future generations, to choose wisely, right? Aren't all of y'all of the age to vote? So I don't care what you vote for or how you vote, one way or the other, but it's extraordinarily important that you do your research. It's very important that you know that you, one person, the one individual sitting here listening to the sound of my voice, you have the chance to change the way that this school does food, the way that this community does food, the way that this city does food, and beyond. So someone mentioned having meetings where people's voices could be heard. Go to those meetings. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, well, I would go, but scandal is on. You know, don't be like that. If you have something to say, if you really have true feelings about something that's going on in your community, and this school is your community while you're here, you have to let your voice be heard. I saw 2 hands.
Oh, yeah, it was sort of in response to what that girl over there was saying, and I think this is a really multifaceted issue because I think people in lower income communities don't feel empowered enough or feel like they have enough behind them to really make a difference. And then in terms of eating organically, I think that's one of the last things that a lot of these people are even thinking about, because a lot of these lower income people have to work that much harder just to provide or to just have a, you know, simple existence or just to survive in general. So I think it really starts with maybe empowering more people to feel like, yeah, I am one person, but I can make a difference. And then hopefully through that change, you know, can spark something greater.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I've lived in Oakland for 10 years, but my whole life I've lived in lower income areas, and I've sort of seen, you know, the destructive thinking of the people in my community, and a lot of them do feel powerless because some of them, you know, only are working a minimum wage job, or maybe they have a family to provide for and they don't have the ability to go back to school or to, you know, gain a greater skill set. So they're just trying to survive. So the very last thing on their mind is, well, organic. Like, I can't even think about that. I have to think about, you know, how am I going to pay the water bill or the electric bill?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so
I
just
want to
wanna-
challenge you. You know, when I hear these people, it gets my hackles up. It does. It triggers me. I'm working on it. You know, I'm trying to be more open. But I want to challenge anybody that says those people, these low-income people, these people of color, these, you know, to start talking about them as a community, communities of color, right? Low-income communities, low-access communities, you know, because the these and those kind of feel finger-pointy. Go ahead.
I mean, we're here at a community college. We are those people. We're diverse and we are.
Exactly.
You know, we don't have the access here and in this area, whereas at BCC they actually have all of downtown.
Oh, I know.
So
I do know.
we are
So,
targeted.
we low-income students of color, we low-income students here at Laney have a problem with what's being served and or how much it costs to get served here, right? We, students of Laney College, have to stand up and say something about it. I don't know how my stupid slide got put out of whack, but activate and get angry. I'm gonna close with one last question. One last story. So there's a woman that's been coming to our farm since we started, right? First it was curiosity, and I'm like, hey, you wanna come in and plant something? And she's like, no, girl, I just wanna see if you can do it, you know? So I went ahead and did it, you know, and the next season came, and she came by and was like, strawberries. I'm like, yeah. She's like, real strawberry? Like, I can eat it right now? Like, yep, absolutely. I washed it off for her, gave it to her. She's in love, right? So little by little, you know, I did it like the pastors do, you know, have you considered your life on organics, you know? That, you know, little by little trying to get her involved and everything. And so now she's involved. She volunteers with us. She's really into Acta Non Verba. But she won't go to any meetings. She won't go to any of the forums. She won't go to any meetings where her face can be seen. You know, she's just like, well, it'll work itself out. Her young son is gorgeous, 3 years old, but has chronic asthma, right? So every once in a while he gets real sick and he gets on this pump that's like, you know, like fighter jet kind of, you know. And she posts pictures of him, you know, and on Facebook, and I, you know, please tell my baby I love him, you know, whatever. And one day this summer, we do a camp. That's what most of these pictures are from, is from our summer camp. We do a camp, and this year I took agency and I took charge of what our kids were gonna be eating, because we were getting the free lunch program through the county, but that was garbage, and the kids knew it and threw it away. So now we're cooking all of our own food, right? Our breakfast, lunch, and snacks every day for 9 weeks, right? I'm taking agency back, and one day, this woman who's there volunteering with us, helping us make the lunches, says, Kelly, where'd you get this meat? And I said, girl, I got it at Costco. And she's like, they sure don't sell this kind of meat out here. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, no, you know, they just have that block kind. And I'm like, how do you feel about that? She's like, I mean, why can't we get this stuff out here? And I'm like, I hope that it's the lunch meat that makes you mad enough about your area. I really, really hope that finally the light bulb, the spark has gone off, that there is something wrong in your community behind lunch meat. Please tell me that's so. I will write to Columbus Meats myself and let them know that they have activated at least one woman in this community to start looking around her and seeing, why don't I have access to the same shit Kelly does? Why don't my kids get the same access to the leafy greens and the salad mixes that Kelly does? Please tell me that this is going to be the thing that's going to make you look up and realize that you have a demolition plant next door to you and an iron foundry 2 blocks away from you that could maybe be contributing to your son's chronic asthma that lands him in the hospital every couple of weeks. Please tell me that it's going to be the lunch meat. In closing, what's it going to be for you? What is it going to be for you that's going to make you stand up and say, you know what? This is not cool. This is not cool for me. It's not cool for my buddy. It's not good for my girlfriend, and I'm out.
Yeah, I want to ask you, what is the solution? You want all organic. So how would you satisfy the demand of the population with organic?
You mean in terms of like weight, like bulk? Like where can you get bulk organic peaches?
Yeah, how would you satisfy the demand?
Well, there are, I mean, this is California.
Yeah.
Within 100 miles, we have organic farm, organic farm, organic farm. And I mean, almost every farm I know of wants an institutional contract. They want to know that they can produce as many peaches as they want. And Laney College, a school of however many hundreds of students, is it hundreds or thousands?
Thousands, tens of thousands.
It's about 10,000.
10,000 students.
Considering the duration of organic.
Considering what?
Considering the time.
The time.
The time it takes to do organic.
What time?
It's available. I think he's expressing something that's a pretty common myth, that conventionally grown food, that you can grow more food per acre using pesticides and fertilizers. That's absolutely becoming proven scientifically not to be true. Agroecological techniques and growing organic, those techniques can provide just as much food per acre when they're used in an intelligent way.
And can I also add something too? Farms right now, if you're a farmer and you want to go organic, it takes a while. That's what takes the longer time. They might be practicing organic practices and good practices, but they have a time frame in which they first have to shift from what they were doing and show good cause to what they want, and then they can be certified. So like, for example, a lot of strawberries are grown organically, but the farm has not been certified. So that takes time, and it takes dedication.